Adrian Autry joining us now. And Coach, we're talking about this Duke team, and they're obviously very, very good. It's not just Cooper Flagg. Like, we look at them and we say, well, they've got the number one overall pick in the draft, but it's more than that. What is the biggest challenge, and what was the biggest challenge last night for your team in preparing for and then facing, that team that has now won 16 games in a row?
Obviously, you talk about Cooper Flagg, who is the headliner. But like you guys said, I mean, overall, they are a very talented team. They surrounded him with a lot of great pieces. They got shooting, they got shot blocking, they got playmakers. And I think, if you try to really kind of shut him down, you let those other guys get loose. And some of those guys, especially Knuppel and Proctor, and James, you let those guys get going, they can make a ton of threes. So, it's really hard to kind of key in on him. They just got a very balanced team.
I said yesterday on the show, I said, I know that Duke leads the ACC in made three-pointers, but I said, we'll probably see zone tonight. You might go zone, hope that they miss some shots, and, you clear the rebound, you hold them to a one and done, you get baskets at the other end. And sure enough, you went zone, and, Duke just didn't miss shots, right? They made three in a row at a very key time, and they were able to kind of pull away from there. Is it, when you're preparing them, especially when you guys are on the defensive end, is it kind of a pick your poison with, they're so good against man-to-man, they're so good against zone, they can beat you in a number of ways that, you kind of got to pick your poison with this team?
No, I think I think the one thing is you really want to try to limit their three-point attempts and three-point makes. And then, once you kind of commit to that, now you got to worry about these guys attacking the rim, and obviously they got lob threats. They putting pressure on you where you get in foul trouble. So when you talk about it, it is kind of pick your poison. I thought for the most part in the first half, we did a decent job up until the last probably 4 or 5 minutes, and obviously when I went zone. They made us pay, and that's what good teams, do. They make you pay, and we had a couple of shots that we needed to make to kind of keep up pace, and I thought, that was kind of really separated the gap, at the end of the first half, their shot making ability, and we missed a couple that we needed to make to kind of keep it going. But, very difficult team to try to try to game plan for because they have so many weapons.
I was going to ask you about your offense last night in Jair Davis. It looked like he got good looks last night and made shots. Moving forward, could we see more of that out of him? Like, if you can do it against Duke, you can probably do it against anybody, right?
Yeah, Jair is a talented guy. He's very good in the mid-range area, which is, a place that we try to get him the ball. We thought, for that Duke game, we know that they switched a lot, and we thought if it was any kind of advantage, try to, get a couple of things, a couple of movements to get him the ball in places, and then see if they would, help off. They just let him play. So, he made his shots, but we didn't get a lot of the other shots that we wanted from them. But, Jair's a good player, he's talented. We got to try to keep him involved right now. Yesterday, we struggled to score, but obviously he got some things going for us. And the last couple of games, he's not scored. So we need him to score. We need him to be a part of the offense. Moving forward for these last 8 games, down the stretch.
I do want to ask you about Naheem McLeod. I mean, he hadn't played more than 5 minutes all season long, and then against Cal, he saw 9 minutes. Did some good things against Cal. And then played 22 minutes last night, 10 points, a perfect 4 for 4 from the field. What were you seeing from Naheem, I guess, in practice? What led to those extended minutes against Cal, and what have you liked, with the way he's used those minutes these last 2 games?
Obviously, he's done a really good job of getting more assertive and aggressive. We saw that in practice. He's had some really good practices over the last week or so, and practice is important. And then in the game, the Cal game, I just thought he he got some rebounds. He finished around the basket. He got off his screens. I think even last night, I think the biggest difference is that when we set those screens, he really got off of them and he made the back line kind of converge a little bit, which allowed us to get a couple of reverse passes and some shots up, and that was key for us. And again, so I thought that was really what we needed. And I think going forward, if he can continue to do what he's doing, he's going to help us down these last stretch.
I do have to ask you about Malik Brown. He comes in last night and he does what we all got used to seeing Malik Brown do, right? A couple of rebounds, a couple of points, a couple of blocks, steals. I mean, he just kind of does it all. Just curious to get your thoughts on kind of, seeing him on the opposing bench. And you recruit a kid, you bring him in, you work with him for a couple of years. I'm sure you get close to him, you get close to his family. What is that like for you as a coach to, see one of the guys that, you had worked with on the opposing bench? Mixed emotions type of thing, Coach?
No, I'm trying to win. I'm not thinking about that. That's not crossing my mind. But also, when the game's over with and, you move on and you get back to life, and trying to, move on to the next day. Obviously, Malik was great here. I remember when Shia called me and he asked me about him, and I just said he's great. He says there's no issues, there's no problems, and he called me back again. He's like, "You sure?" And I go, "I'm 100% sure. Trust me. He's a great young man, and this is just the time that we're in, and so." Malik's a class act. He's always been a class act, quiet young man, hard worker, does all the things. I think he's a basketball coach's dream, a guy that's selfless, all about the team and does all of the little things that help teams win. Just from a personal standpoint, our personal relationship, I can't think of another better young man that I've coached.
Let me ask you a question, Coach, about roster building here. The position of GM has come up a lot in our calls and chats lately. What is the GM's job to do for Syracuse University, and how much has it changed what you have to do in season also this year to have a guy in the GM position?
Well, I think everyone has a different role and how they want to use that position. I know for us, Alex Klein is very involved in. He's going to be very involved and is involved in constructing the roster, helping us coaches construct the roster, evaluate talent throughout the whole year, and obviously NIL efforts, being able to help that. So again, it's different roles. He has a number of hats to wear, but obviously, being able to put a roster together to be able to put different things in place for us, from a talent evaluation part. And I think we have the best GM in the country because he's done this before at the highest level. He was a big part of the rebuilding of the New York Knicks and talent evaluations and character and things that matter, not what not just kind of, we will say, falling into like empty calories or listening to, this guy's ranked this or this guy's ranked that. Really getting value and identifying players. And again, last year we had to go to the portal the first time, and this time around we'll be more prepared going to the portal, and he'll be a big help for us.
And the Malik Brown question made me wonder about this. How important is player retention? You see rosters just flipping over. Is that the main priority for Syracuse, is to retain players, or is it to just?
I think you got to retain the right ones. You got to retain the ones that, are worth retaining. And it's unfortunate because that's not what college is supposed to be about, but that's the situation that we're in right now. And so you got to really, who's going to align with what you're doing, who can, who knows who's going to be able to help and impact the program going forward. So I think you got to, retain the right ones. Just to retain someone and to have a roster and you retain them, and, you're not getting better. You're always trying to get better, and that's what we're trying to do. So you got to retain the right ones.
And along those lines, let me follow up on that. Are those conversations, Coach, going on during the season with the actual players, here and there as they kind of check in and you check in with them? Or is that something that you strictly, you play out the year and then it's almost like an exit interview type thing, season's over, and then you talk about those things?
Yeah, we finish out the year. Still a lot of season left. And again, we have to finish this season. You can't have these conversations. You can't have these these discussions as the season is going on. Those are things like that you can't have. It's a lot of emotions. You still got games to play. And we have this final stretch of games that we got to be ready to play and win and compete against and win and then go to the tournament and see what happens. Once the season is finally over with, then we'll start to have those discussions.
I know you're probably tired of us asking, but just doing our job here. You referred to Donnie Freeman on Monday, and you said you thought within this next week that there might be a decision one way or the other. Where does that stand right now? I mean, is there anything you can tell us about, where he is and if we're going to see him back in uniform?
I think we're in a situation right now, you guys, this is bad timing right now, but we'll probably have a more definitive answer in a couple of hours this afternoon. So we'll know if he's going to finish out the season or not finish out the season. So we should know something probably sometime this afternoon or tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you letting us know about that. It's something that's come up on the show today is, Coach, listen, I know that fans are frustrated. Do you have any sort of message to the fans right now with where things stand right now? As you said, 8 games left to play. You're going to finish out the year, and guys are going to try to win as many games as possible. What would be your message to the fans, right now following last night's loss?
My message to the fans is that yes, we are going to finish up and try to win every game that we compete and play against. Obviously, this is not where we want to be, and I understand your frustration. But better days are ahead, and I can promise you that. Everything has changed right before our eyes, and no one really knew once everything happened with this change, with the transfer portal, the freedom, and then the NIL thing. I think, everyone is trying to get a grasp of it, and I'm very confident that we have a handle on everything, and we are moving in the right direction. But this season is not over with. We're going to still finish this season out. We have not packed it in. That's not the type of coach I am, not the person I am. I'm from this community. And I think I want people to understand I've probably spent, more than half my life in this community, living, close to it. And so I understand it, and I'm frustrated, and I'm just as frustrated and disappointed, and more than anybody could say on social media or anything like that. But the one thing I'll say is this team loves to be here. I love being here, and we're going to continue to push, and we're going to get better, and we're going to finish this season out strong. And, again, better days are ahead of us. I can promise you that. And I don't make a lot of promises. I can promise you that.
All right, and speaking about better days being ahead, last question for you, Coach, as you look ahead now to Saturday, 3:15 tip against Boston College, a team you've already faced. You beat them there. 1975 Final Four team will be in the house being honored, 50th anniversary of that team. What can you tell us about the matchup with the Eagles on Saturday?
It's going to be a battle like it was down at Boston. A physical team. They're playing really well right now. They went, they played, they lost the other night, but, they went to Carolina and went to overtime. So, it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be a tough game. I know our guys will be ready to play. We'll be ready to play. We're getting prepared for that today and tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting game. The last game was an exciting game. So, it's going to be an exciting game and entertaining game. But, we'll be ready to go.
15 tip on Saturday. Coach, we do appreciate the time. Thanks so much for coming on, and we look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Thank you.
All right, Adrian Autry joining us, brought to you every week by Oswego County Mutual.
That's right, Steve.
And the Adrian Autry Show tonight.